Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Cooking with Luke. This week we're actually going to be featuring a book that I wrote. It's called Anyone Can Cook Ancient Food. It features some recipes from the ancient world from all over the place, from Egypt, Greece, and Rome. 3 recipes are featured from each place. It's a very nice book, hand-bound, great quality. Today we're going to be featuring one of the recipes from this book, that being the recipe for tiger nut sweets, which were food from the Mediterranean area, food from ancient Egypt. It was kind of a dessert that they would eat there, and so yeah, that's basically what we're going to be making today, and I would highly recommend, if you're interested, go ahead and purchase a copy of my book. So this is actually a really easy recipe to make. In fact, all the recipes featured in the book they're really easy. They're designed for kids. They're designed to be simple. They're designed to teach children and kids a little bit about the ancient world, as well as some other people, in particular about food. So yeah, and all the ingredients you see that we're going to be using here today, around cinnamon, honey, dates, and some almonds and cashews. All of these I actually got purchased at Target, so pretty easy to find foods. I know that's one of the problems that I've always had with like normal cookbooks, is you go to look through them and you're like, where in the world am I supposed to get some of these ingredients? So that's the other thing I kind of try to focus on, is making it easy to get them. So let's basically just get started. Now it's a really easy recipe to make, and there's not a lot of actual like cooking. It's kind of just doing stuff and then what happens. So basically we're just going to start by putting some dates, out of the way so you can see, we're going to be putting some dates in our blender here, and let's add some more. I mean, this is going to be forming a paste that we're going to use to make the base of this. That looks good to start. We can always add some more later. I'm going to bring out some water, and I'm going to add some water to this. Not too much. You don't want to make it too liquidy, but you want to have some water there because you don't want your blender to like blow up in you. Alright, let's put the top on this, and then we're going to go ahead and now it sounds like we're starting to get somewhere with this, and indeed we are. I mean, it's not, yeah, that's an okay consistency. It's not the greatest. We're going to throw a few more dates in here. This is starting to look okay. We just gotta try and get these bigger pieces to come out of here. So we're gonna try and mix those and mix it around a little bit here. Let's put this back on. And then you can kind of see this is kind of the consistency we're going for, this kind of like mush that kind of sticks together. It doesn't stick together the greatest right now, but that's okay. We're going to be fixing that in a little bit. We add to the blender chopped walnuts. In this case I'm using cashews, because I got the wrong thing, and I also I like cashews a little bit better. So first you're going to want to, like, these pieces they're pretty big as they come, so first you're going to want to chop them up, and I've already done that, so we're just going to add the chopped walnuts that we have here, just right into our mush, and then kind of try and mix it with the fork so we can kind of get that all working together here, and yeah, get that all nice and in there like that. And clean the fork off, and then we're gonna blend it some more here. Alright, that's looking good. It's kind of, as you can tell now, it's sticking together with itself a lot better now that we've added the almonds. That really helps to kind of bind them together. And you know, way back when they didn't have fancy blenders, so a lot of literally all of this was done by hand. At this point, we're ready to add some cinnamon for taste, and because I just bought this, I need to take the top off of it. Yeah, I can do this. I got this. There we go. Always throw them away. Don't ever lick cinnamon. Don't do the cinnamon challenge. It's kind of a dumb idea. Just gonna put that out there, and we're just gonna get a little bit of cinnamon into there. And at this point, we're gonna add honey too, which I also just bought, so I also need to open that, and then we'll get rid of the top for that as well. Actually, I'm gonna check. Okay, it's still recording, which is good. And now we're going to go ahead and squeeze in some honey to the top of this. And once again, we're going to be blending this together again. And the honey's also going to help with the binding of things together. So we're going to kind of want to mix that in there and not just let the honey sit on top. We're definitely going to want to try and mix the honey in. Oops. Looks like one of our dates didn't really get put into this, so we're going to want to try and get that down close to the blades of the blender where it can get eaten up, hopefully, in the coming little bits. So this is starting to look pretty good. Again, we're just going to blend it up just real quick so we can kind of... That's looking good now, I think. This will do nicely for that one date wants to not stop being a date. I think this will do well. So now we get to go to in my opinion, the most exciting part of this recipe. The thing about the almonds is we're trying to get them into a fine powder. So actually what we're going to do here is we're going to take the almonds and we're going to put some in a plastic baggie, just like that. This is a real simple step, and this is where it starts to get exciting. So we got our almonds in a baggie. We'll put them there, and move this out of the way, and then you're just gonna, get a mallet or a hammer, whatever really works, and you're just gonna. And so with that, we're done before people start getting too mad. But I think that this is really one of the funnest parts of the whole recipe that kids can really get behind, is they get to smash stuff with a hammer, and who doesn't love that? And just kind of try and contain our mess. We're actually just gonna peel this plastic bag right open, and we're actually gonna finish making these right on this. So now that we got our bag all nice and open, we're gonna take something and put the final product in. We don't need the blender anymore, so we can actually take this off. We'll open this up. And then we're just taking some piece of the batter out like this. You're just going to put it in your hand and roll it up into a ball, get it onto that, kind of coat it with the almond pieces, and just like that. They should be good. You can go ahead and set them aside, and then they're best if you put them in the fridge when you're all done. So that's what we'll be doing here once we get them all nice and made up. So that's how you make them. They're a real delicious treat. Something that I think kids will really enjoy making, and so that's why they're in my book. Yeah. So that's it for today, for this week's episode of Cooking with Luke. Hope to see you next week. Next week we'll be doing a different recipe from there. Next week we'll be notching it up a little bit. We're actually going to be in the kitchen. We'll be making a lentil soup, which comes from Greece. So that'll be fun. So until next time, I guess, keep driving.